welcome to this week's edition of WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Qualls, and with us as always, our resident football expert, Tate Mathews. Before we get into football, though, Barbara Campbell, Lady Bruins of Brentwood. AAA Volleyball State Championship was this past weekend, Tate. And to say that it was just like, it's like a broken record. It's almost to the point that we're shaking hands instead of jumping up and down for joy. Now, the kids, they're loving it. But the coaching staff is just like, but she told me it never gets old. She woke up with the same feeling, this anxiousness and worrying. And I'm talking to her before the game. I'm like, really? There's nothing to worry about. Played Siegel, second time. Get this. The only set they lost the entire playoff process from district tournament on was one game they lost to Siegel. One.
That's unbelievable.
One set.
Would you call that dominating?
I would think so. Number 6 in a row for the Lady Bruins, 13th overall. Where is her place in history in the TWA?
One of the top, definitely the top volleyball. I think, you know.
It's not even remotely close.
I think Charlie Harper has more track and field state championships, but he was coaching boys and girls. Don Freudenthal had 13 softball. What's Qualls and Rankins are 13, I think, in football.
She's now at the upper echelon. I think, you know.
You can put a goat emoji next to her name.
Well, they keep saying, well, she's going to retire. She's not going to retire.
She's not retiring.
She's going to come back. She's going to have 14 next year, potentially 15 before the Eggleston girl, the younger one, gets out. I mean, it's pretty amazing if you look at her track record. But,
well, yeah, I mean, the consistency of it. I mean, you know, every year it's a different team, right? And you lost the number one player in the country.
That's the scary thing, the whole thing.
Not the state.
Think about this. The number one player in the country was supposed to be a senior. Out on the floor, you want to talk about unfair. I've seen a couple of games where they play volleyball. Now, this is the highest level volleyball in the state of Tennessee. Matter of fact, they're nationally ranked every year and have been since I've been here in the Southeast United States. Top 3, if not the top team in the Southeast United States. They're playing national caliber talent, but then when the regular season gets here, inside the WCS is borderline national talent. We got a lot of teams that could be ranked. Now, here's the point I'm trying to make. Logan Eggleston, when she was playing last year as a junior, when she hit the ball, girls were running and dodging like you were playing battle ball. That's not what you're supposed to do in volleyball. You're supposed to dig those things out, but they're not digging anything off of Logan Eggleston, who should have been there this year. My whole point in this is it would have been completely unfair if she played. She's now averaging double digits for the 4th-ranked Texas Longhorns.
I can't even wrap my brain around that. That's one of a kind right there.
It really is. And I asked Coach Campbell about that, and she's like, if you look at her body type, her build, her athleticism, of all the great players she's ever had, she's like, nobody has ever been built as perfect as she is.
She was made to be a volleyball player.
Made to be a volleyball player.
Pretty competitive, too.
So congratulations to the Brentwood Lady Bruins, winning their 13th overall 6 in a row state championship. Soccer has concluded the regular season post-play. We've got 3 teams in the state championships, Brentwood, Ravenwood, and for the first time ever, the Nolensville Lady Knights have qualified for the state championships. Congratulations
to all of them. You expected Brentwood and Ravenwood to really have a good chance to get there, and then Coach Shelton, what he's done with the Nolensville Knight program, and that was expected. I mean, he's had a lot of success as a soccer coach before he came here, and he got that thing going really quick. That's big time for them. Very excited to see how all of them end up. And then Brentwood, Ravenwood, looks like we're going to have another tough, tight Directors Cup race in the big schools. Is that what you call it? The big schools?
Yes, Division I.
Division I.
Yes. Whew. Division II, Nolensville obviously will have a little bit of a lead there. Of course, Fairview, the football points add up pretty big. Their Fairview soccer team also did really well. Yeah. You've got Page in that Division II group too as well. So it's interesting to see how that's to play out. But you're right. It's gonna come down to the end with.
Is it possible? Do you know? Not to put you on the spot, but is it possible to have a Brentwood Ravenwood State Soccer Championship, or will they hit each other? Do you know yet?
I do not know off the top of my head. I would assume that they have different brackets and could potentially do that, which would be pretty neat.
That'd be really neat.
We had that in volleyball last year, where we had a Brentwood-Ravenwood showdown, Battle of the Woods, and that would be pretty neat because that would guarantee something that hasn't been done in the 5 years I've been here. So that'd be pretty neat. We have not won a soccer state championship. So we've come close.
Right. I think we can get one.
Think so?
Yeah. One of the two. Pretty cool. Also, side note, Coach Campbell, Coach Robinson, the head coach of Siegel, who they beat in the state championship, he's a former Barbara Campbell assistant. So she's kind of like Saban. She's putting them out.
She puts them out, yeah.
But did you see the stat? Saban's played his assistants 14 times, and he's beat the bricks off them every time. Same deal. Coach Campbell's the same way.
Well, the brakes were beat off, not the bricks, but the brakes were beat off of this particular game as well. And I know I was actually out there pregame in the hallway when he came up. Sean came up and, congratulations, Coach, congratulations, all these things. And I know in his mind he's thinking I would pay every dime I had to beat you, but I'm not going to today. And they were happy to be there. I want to say that may have been their first state championship appearance game.
Appearance.
And anybody that's in that particular game against the Lady Bruins are happy to be there and happy to take that silver trophy home because they're not getting the gold.
No.
That's just the way it is. Man, brother, it's hard to believe. Week 11 is on top of us.
I'm heartbroken.
Can you believe that?
It's gone by way too fast.
Way too fast. We had a really kind of an awkward week last week. We had fall break, a lot of teams on byes. But we're going to look at last week's game. We're going to look at the capsules for this week's game. But we also need to look at the potential playoff perspective, which is awesome. Everything's pretty much almost done except the Whaling and the Gnashing of Teeth coming down in the Region 6-6A playoff picture, and it is going to be a wild one. But let's start with Brentwood, Marshall County. I think Mr. Producer can go back and rewind the tapes and find out that what I said was pretty accurate. I don't get a lot of accuracies on the show, but I did say that this game would not be a boat race. It would be a tight game against a very good Marshall County team, 28-18, and that 28th point came late in the game when it was 21-18 with potential of getting upset.
Oh, yeah. Well, they were down 11-7 at the half, and I did not, like you said, we knew Marshall County's a quality program, a 4A program, and Coach Osteen's done a great job, but I didn't expect that. And so they were down 11-7 at the half. Obviously, that was gut check time for the Bruins, and they came out and scored 21 points in the second half, ended up winning, 28-21. 28-18. And so that was a big win for them. I know that's not the start Coach Crawford was looking for, but, you always got to feel good about your team when you man up and dig deep like that. And, that was a good win for them because I think, obviously, they still, which we'll talk about, they still have a chance at the region championship. I think you feel a lot better going into week 11 playing that game than had they not been able to right that ship and get that game corrected. That was big for them.
Well, Coach Crawford, I was talking to him, a lot of adversity from this program. Commend these young men for taking the field in honor and doing the things that they need to do. It's not an easy thing to overcome, but you know what? The best thing, as Coach Crawford said, the best thing you can prescribe something like this is get out there and compete and get back at it. And, that was one of the things that they did. Knocked a little bit of rust off. I think, going into this week, big game. Huge game, implications for both. Obviously, on the Centennial side of things, a lot bigger,
literally do or die.
Right, a lot more at stake than Brentwood. But Brentwood does not want to give up that number one. They want to win that region championship for multiple reasons.
Right.
And I think that this win was a good test and a good win this late in the season by a very good Marshall County team.
Without a doubt, yeah. And it was there, which. You used to be the beneficiary of it. That's not an easy place to play on the road. Read into that what you want to. I don't know if it was like that in basketball. It's dang sure like that in football. So
it used to be back in the late 90s. I happened to coach in the early 2000s, unfortunately.
I don't know if that happened or not, but anyways. But Jordan Nicholas, big game as usual. Mr. Reliability, 88 yards and a touchdown. Michael Burke, 71 total yards and a touchdown. Then Granzow was 178 yards and a touchdown, 17 for 25. So that tells me that Marshall County's defense was pretty good, at least in the secondary. But, again, with everything they've been through, to get out there together, like you said, compete, play together, and then to dig deep and get a big win like that. There's so much talent all over this field. Walker Merrill, I believe, caught that touchdown. He's been playing pretty much exclusively defense. Obviously, he's playing more offense now.
He'll play a very big role now, yes.
Yeah. And so, you got a sophomore quarterback, and Merrill's a sophomore receiver. They're developing chemistry. Talent's not going to be the problem. So
It's just,
I still think this Brentwood team's got a chance to make I think all of our guys have a chance to make a deep run. It's just going to be which one's going to do it.
speaking of Walker, he's got several Power 5 offers as well. I mean, really the traction is picking up for him and,
Sure.
and things.
Well, and the thing that got him noticed, I know in the camps, was the running the routes and the things, but you know, he's a heck of a DB now, and the thing that gets lost in it is that he'll come up and hit you, and that's not, you know, that's not always the case in high school, especially not for a sophomore, but got a chance to be a great two-way player for the Bruins.
Once again, Brentwood 28-18 winners over Marshall County. This next game is the biggest win in the Charles Rathbone era, biggest win in Page in 19 years. I think it shocked us all, including me. I mean, there's no reason to even hide it. I mean, I really thought that Page had complete capabilities of winning this game and potential to win this game. I just thought that Shelbyville coming in, it's kind of one of those things, I hate to even say it, those cliche things that we say, you know, they're due a loss. They're sitting at this time 7-1. They've had a great run of string of wins put together. You know, they lost to Ravenwood and they got right back on the horse and won some games. And I'm thinking, this is going to be a tough game for them. And then what did they do? They come out, they won the region championship by beating Shelbyville 20-17 in overtime, big time kick.
Oh gosh, what a great win, and I'm so happy for Coach Rathbone. He's a good man, and has done a great job. And really, like we've talked about every year, you know, they've had some good teams, but it just seems like the injury bug bit them every year. It bit them this year, really early on in the season. They were able to survive those and to get those wins, and now it seems like they've got everybody back and playing at a very, very high level now. So to be 5A champions, oh, and remember, it was just a couple years ago, oh, how's Page going to handle moving up to 5A? They're going to be able to compete?
That's funny now.
That's right. We know the answer to that now. And just, you know, the one loss is to Ravenwood, and now they weren't at full speed. Now, do I think they beat Ravenwood? No. But I know they'd like another shot at them. I don't know that it'd be 35-7 if they played again and they had all their bullets. So what a great win, and to win in overtime. The interesting thing is kind of like Brentwood. It was a little bit different, but they came out and scored on their first 3 possessions. Started off the game hot, and then they didn't score another point in regulation. So they were able to hold on just enough to get that thing to overtime and then to win on an on a field goal, 20-17. And I think you and I were the same. Now, even if Page did win it, we thought it was going to have to be like a 45-40, you know, a shootout because of the offenses. And big win for them. Big win.
So several things come out. Number one, Page's defense is better than what we give him credit for. Number two, this is not any kind of new thing to us. Michael Burdick is a player. Number three, the quarterback play and the efficiency rating that he's playing at right now, Cade Walker, is a player.
Yeah.
And along those two, I think that's the recipe for those. As long as those guys keep playing the way they do, you know, Burdick defensively, take the offense part out of the game. Look at defensively what he's doing as well. I mean, you're right. What can you say? This is a remarkable job. You've been around Coach Rathbone longer now. This is my 5th year, and you've been around him. I guess he's been in the spot 6 years now. Maybe
I think 7.
Maybe 7. Yeah. By far, the best coaching job.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew they could be pretty good. I never would have thought in a million years at week 10, at the conclusion of week 10, they were sitting at 8-1.
Yeah, and you know, to hold Shelbyville, I don't know what Shelbyville's average points per game is, but I guarantee you it's double 17. 31. There you go. And, you know, they played well. Grayson Trammell, probably, he won't be this year, but last year, obviously, record-setting passing yards. And here's what I thought was pretty cool. He passed for over 300 yards. But for whatever reason, and that was that defense bowing that back, once they got down there in that red zone, they weren't able to turn those into points. So great job by them. They intercepted them twice. Brady Buckley had one. You want me to give you
Let's guess
one
who did it.
Burdick on the other? He had only thrown 5 interceptions going into that game. This isn't a guy who makes mistakes. And so, again, and we talked about it. I don't know why. It was on a tip, I think, to Burdick. So maybe it's like kicking off deep to Isaiah Collier. Why you'd even throw it around him, I don't understand. But here's what's awesome. Game-winning field goal in overtime. Chase Tidmore, the junior, kicks a 25-yarder. All right, now, I've been in this, and I'm going to tell you now, when it's your boy snapping that ball in overtime for a field goal, it gets tight. It makes you nervous. But Cade Ashman, a lot of things had to go right for that game-winning field goal. It wasn't just Chase Tidmore kicking it. Cade Ashman, the long snapper, perfect snap. You want to guess who the holder was?
Michael Burdick.
Michael Burdick, perfect hold. Then Chase Tidmore.
Laces out.
I'm sure it was, but and then the protection team too. So, but shout out to Cade Ashman. I'm telling you, brother, great job. That's not easy to do. It's overtime. Ooh. Hey, that might be the biggest position on the field now, where you do what you're supposed to do, nobody notices you, but you don't, everybody knows you. That's pressure packed. He put that thing right to Burdick. That's big time.
Let's be honest, in high school, you don't see that very often.
No.
That's a weapon, man. If you can have that ability to be able to get in that position of field goal territory and say, we're fixing to win this game, and that's what they did. They walked out there just like they practice every single day. I'm sure they have 3 to 5 minutes allotted every day, special teams. Yeah. Bang, bang, kick is up, kick is good.
Well, and it's overtime. If they make it, it's over. So you know they were bringing everybody. That's Anybody who thinks that's easy to do, go out there and try to do it.
20-17. Congratulations, Coach Rathbone and the Patriots, Region 5 5A champions. We'll talk about their playoff picture in just a moment. Next game, the first tombstone of the day goes to the Memphis East football team.
Jeez.
52-0. Independence absolutely steamrolls this team. This team has only scored 12 points coming into this game for the season.
And they had to drive to come. Had to drive. 52-0.
I don't know what to say. I don't want to. I'm not disrespecting this team, but I mean.
Well, and here's what's scary, and I know it's Memphis, okay, but just 2 seasons ago, these guys were playing for a 4A state championship game.
On the flip side of the coin, if they said, let's play basketball, they'd be laughing at a lot of people too. However,
be careful.
We're playing football right now.
We're playing football. We're talking football.
52-0.
Well, and I tell you, Independence, they've figured themselves out, and again, don't let that record fool you. That's the most deceiving record in football, but they're kind of.
There's no doubt.
You remember the fastest show on turf, the Rams, Kurt Warren, to beat the Tate. That's kind of what this Independence team is right now. They're playing fast. They're playing sharp. They can score some points. They got guys that
5
make
and 4
plays, and we've talked for a while about who that best combo is. It's hard to go against Sheffield and Collier right now. Collier, I mean this. They're all great players. We don't want to get into the bests, but as far as production on the field, Collier might be producing more than anybody in the whole sports conference.
Well, and he'll tell you. I mean, anybody would tell you he's benefiting off what?
Well, you got to know where TJ is.
But a lot of people still can't. I mean, may not be able to function and still. You can catch the ball, but what he does, his production after the catch is what's killing people. His what's
yak and rack.
That's right. That's right. After the catch.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, good
Thank
job.
you. I thought about you this weekend.
Did you?
Yes.
In a good way?
I did. I was thinking
it why
about.
The balls were getting drawn?
Well, no, it was the 4th down, and the 2-point conversion for the Titans yesterday, right? And we're going into shotgun with the most athletic quarterback out there, and he stays in the pocket. I was looking for an RPO from the Titans to get out for a little bit of movement. So you can tell Coach Coleman, I'm sure he's watching the show right now, that I can talk football with anybody.
Ain't no question.
If you do an RPO, you at least have to make the linebackers check up.
And when it's on the 2-point conversion, it's hard to get a lineman downfield because they don't have very far to go. So yeah, I'm with you. I mean, if the guy's your franchise quarterback, and part of it is running,
we have digressed.
Put the keys in his hand. Hey, but back to Collier, right? Back to Collier. 2 receptions, 63 yards and a touchdown, and a 50-yard touchdown. That's not throwing the ball down there. He's handing it to him 50 yards. I'm telling you, the kid is explosive, great vision. He's fun to watch. He's got receiving touchdowns, rushing touchdowns. He's taking a kickoff back.
You mentioned
fun to watch.
We're not in the business of getting to the best, but it's really right now the 2-headed monster of the quarterback as well. I mean, you got Ethan Cash right now. His efficiency rating is out of the roof, out of this world. Nathan Cisco. Right now playing in that secondary role right now, and that could change at any given moment.
That's right.
According to what plays on, according to what the defense gives you. That's pretty remarkable if you think about the yardage that Cash has put up and his efficiency rating, as well as what Cisco has done, and to bring one of those guys in and absolutely pick people apart, it's pretty tough. I'm going to make a bold prediction. They're 5-4, best 5-4. Number one, they're the best 5-4 team in the state.
I think that's safe.
Number two, if they get their defense figured out, if they can get the defensive line and their defense figured out, Independence could be the lone standing WCS team when the smoke clears.
I wouldn't. I know this. All of them, nobody wants to see them early on in the playoffs. That's why, which you'll get to, that's why these games are so big, though, man. Playoff seedings, you know. Number one thing is to get in, but playoff seedings, that's 6-6-8 is going to be big time. But you were talking about the two quarterbacks. Cash, 4 for 5, 100 yards, touchdown. I'd love to know what that one incompletion was about. Cisco comes in, 3 for 3, 70 yards, touchdown. Seriously, I don't know. The running clock would have taken effect in the second half, but I don't know how many points they could have scored.
That efficiency rating is as high as the main machine out of Fairview. Independence big winners, 52, Memphis 0.
Tyrus Jackson, 2 rushing touchdowns.
Franklin, 44, Spring Hill, 6. The Rebels coming in to this last week looking to have to beat Dixon County, which I'm going to go ahead and put this on the record for you. That will happen as big as a spread as this particular game, I think. Or, you know, it'll be a nice, comfortable win. I hate to say that. I don't want to set the mojo bad for anybody. You're smiling because you disagree.
No, I just think it's funny. No, I would say the odds are heavily in Franklin's favor.
Yes. What do we know about this game? 44-6.
44-6. They took care of business. They did what they needed to do against a team that they should have beaten, and so they did. You're excited to see that going into the last round of the season, last week of the season. So, and it was really what we've talked about all year long about when is Franklin at their best when they have a balanced offensive attack, running the ball, rushing the ball, passing the ball. Excuse me. You know, they're not going to be throwing the ball like Independence does. That's not what they're about. But you want to talk about balance on offense? They had 146 rushing yards, 166 passing yards. First downs, they had 19. 10 of them were off rush. 8 were off passing. 1 was a penalty. So that's about as balanced as you get. Joshua Nichols, 12 for 32, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns. Both of those were to number 11, Chancellor Bright. Matt Gacka, 26 rushes for 138 yards, 3 touchdowns, 5.9 yards per clip. Steady. And if you're rushing the ball 26 times, you got 146 rushing yards, 160 passing yards, and you're playing one of those teams that throws it a lot. What does that mean? That means that offense is standing over on that sideline a lot.
Speaking of
great game,
Chancellor Bright, that brings us to the WCTV Play of the Week. Josh Nichols throwing a dime to Chancellor Bright.
Bringing up 3rd and 15 from the 22-yard line of the Raiders. Nichols takes a snap. Looks right, pump fakes, looking for Bright in the end zone. The catch is made. Did he get his feet in? He did. Nichols to Chancellor Bright, big number 11, in the right corner of the end zone. Some of the Raiders are kind of questioning the call from this angle up here, too far away to see. Great concentration by Chancellor Bright, picking up the 2nd touchdown for the Rebels. The deal is, nonetheless, 2nd and 4, Nichols in the shotgun. Takes a snap, looking for a fade to the right. He has Bright, and he has the catch. Chancellor Bright, touchdown. Rebels, as he was, he had the height factor on his side against Prowell there, single coverage, and just a great ball dropping right in on point by Nichols. As we see Chancellor Bright giving us some smiles as the Rebels are in business.
As you can see right there, Tate, that man has a bright future ahead of him. Chancellor Bright catching that ball. He's getting a lot of traction from some Power 5 schools, Arkansas being one of those. Just think if he goes there, it's going to become wide out Destination U because they have the kid from Blackman also going as well.
Big, tall receiver.
All right, so we are running out of time. We got to get through it right now. We're going to talk real briefly about this week's matchups, and then we're going to move into playoff mode, potential playoff mode. Let's start right now. Brentwood coming in minus 16, laying 16 down to Centennial. So let's put you in perspective of what's got to happen. We're going to look at the Region 6 6A possibilities. Option number 1, if Independence defeats Ravenwood, Brentwood defeats Centennial, and Franklin defeats Dickson County, Independence is your region champions. Yep. Brentwood is second, Ravenwood is third, Franklin squeaks in. If Independence defeats Ravenwood, Brentwood defeats Centennial, and Dickson defeats Franklin, Independence is first, Brentwood is second, Ravenwood is third, Centennial is fourth. Indy beats Ravenwood and Centennial defeats Brentwood, then Indy's first, Brentwood is second, Ravenwood is third, Centennial is fourth. Ravenwood defeats Indy, Brentwood defeats Centennial, Franklin beats Dickson, Brentwood is first, Ravenwood second, Indy third, and Franklin is fourth. So here's what we got to look at. This is mind-blowing, so let's wrap our brains around what's got to happen. Franklin's going to beat Dickson. Franklin's laying 34 on the line of Dickson. I believe they cover that. Okay, so we're not even going to waste time on that. Two pieces of
Franklin's winning.
Recipe.
Franklin's winning.
Number 1 is backs against the wall. They have to have the win, no doubt. Dickson's coming off a Lawrence County loss.
I couldn't believe that.
Brentwood 16 over Centennial.
How fitting Halloween weekend.
Brentwood 16 over Centennial. What do you think? Real quick.
Brentwood high.
Woo! Even laying the points. You getting that?
Yep.
Centennial's playing for the loss. Playing for the lives. You better watch out on that. Page 21, laying 21 on Columbia.
I don't like that. I think Page wins, but I don't like that 21.
I don't either. I agree with you. Franklin 34. We mentioned Indy laying 4 against Ravenwood.
So this has got to be a pick 'em. I don't know where that came from.
Man, that's a tough line right there. Ravenwood's defense. I'm calling it right now. Ravenwood's defense gives them the edge.
It's that Indy.
Ravenwood's defense gives the edge.
My TV 30
I'm saying they're
game.
covered. I'm not telling you who's winning. I don't know who wins it. They're going to cover the 4. I think they don't cover the 4. I think Ravenwood's defense gives a slight edge, but we'll see. The new look Eagles. What do you think?
Air Blade. My pick. I'm going. Man. I'm going to go with Independence.
Nolensville's laying 1 at Marshall over Marshall County. This is a tough game. This is for 3rd and 4th place. It's going to be a tough one.
No-low.
I agree. Summit laying 11 against Lincoln. This is for 3rd or 4th place. They're trying to look at that bracket, the way it plays out, trying to stay away from that 1-2 game on that other side. Hillsboro looks like it's going to be. Our friends over in Gallatin are in that group at number 3. I hope he's watching this today and his ears are bleeding.
Camp Lejeune or Camp Wiggy-Wom is watching.
Summit minus 11 over
Summit.
Lincoln.
But I'm going to tell you now,
They cover?
We've seen it. No.
But they win. Fairview laying 21 against Cheatham County.
You know what this is?
That is you pressing the gas down. Mr. Producer, what did we miss today?
All right, guys, not much. It's a good show. Not to pile on Memphis East here. They did score 12 this season. They have given up 352. That's a little bit brutal. And also Ethan Cash, his efficiency you were talking about, 403 yards, last 2 games, 403 yards, 16 of 18, 5 TDs, no interceptions. So pretty amazing.
You can win some football games like that.
In honor of Halloween, we're looking at the secondaries that play against Independence in Memphis East football season this year. Basketball's right around the corner for you guys. We do have Media Day coming up this week, speaking of basketball. It's hard to believe it's here. Thanks for joining us. Maybe the blood didn't come out of your ears too bad.
Go to a Week 11 game.
Week 11 game this week. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.